Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here for our spiritual sojourn. So happy you're joining us today. Hi, Tom. Glad you're here with us as well.
Hi, Laurie. I'm glad to be here.
Excellent.
We had another one of our world famous informal discussions, and sometimes we record them. And in case a little morsel comes out or something that we want to share with everyone, and today that did happen, and we got a lot of really good information. So we thought, well, we'll just sort of share that with everybody and hope that they appreciate it as much as you and I did for a wonderful message today on um, getting help in troubled times. And when you ask for help, how to do that, and how to continue to ask and show gratitude, and staying out of the trap of worry. So that's kind of the topic that we covered today. And we're going to fade out and go to that. And we'll be right back after we go through that topic. When you ask for something, like,
That's it. Ask for something. Right.
why do you have to keep asking? What?
Yeah, let's start with that one because they made a real distinction between that, didn't they? It seems like sometimes, yes, when you ask the universe kind of a general thing of help me with whatever, then it's like trust and faith. But then, like with my angels, I always call them in and specifically and ask them to protect me pretty much regularly.
Mhm.
Not just a blanket thing and then it's done. Although sometimes I forget and I still trust that they're there. But when I remember, I'm just always thanking them for being there with me.
Yeah. So let's say you're having a health problem, and on a given day, you reach out to your spirit team for help with that health problem, and you do get some results, and you show your gratitude. And then does that mean that the next day you probably need to ask again?
We would point out that this will depend entirely upon your belief system. What you fail to understand at times, you can ask for the universe's help, and we will always do our best to assist you to provide what you have asked for. However, remember, you have free will, and within that free will are the beliefs that you hold about whatever it is you are asking for. So when you ask for help with a health issue, but your belief system is that faith and just asking for help from the universe, Jesus, God, whatever you wish to call it, doesn't really work, that you need to rely on your doctors to help you. If that, even as an unconscious belief, is what you hold, then whatever we send you will not be as effective or effective at all, for you will not receive it based on your belief.
Mhm. However, sometimes it's the those doctors or the medical care that you get that is the answer to the request that you have put out. So there's that as well. But do you?
Let's come back to that for a moment. For yes, that may be how the universe sends you support, is sending you to the correct doctor. However, even that doctor with their medicine that you believe in will not impact the health issue if you don't believe and hold the belief that it will, in fact, help you and cure you. For many people do not believe certain things can be cured, that they are doomed, that it is just their lot in life. And with withholding that belief, then it does not matter if we spontaneously heal you or if the medical profession offers you medications, whatever they offer you to support you in healing and returning to health. If you don't believe that's possible, then it will not happen.
Gotcha.
So beliefs for human beings are primarily unconscious and drive all of your behavior and what happens to you, the reality that you create for yourself. Crap.
It's a lot of responsibility back on me.
Yes.
I'm just still curious though. So it's a constant, you're constantly monitoring whatever subject it is that you're requesting help and showing gratitude and then requesting the next step, help on the next step. Sounds like that's actually the way it works the best.
And continually being aware of your beliefs around whatever you are asking for. And finding those beliefs that somehow say you aren't worthy. It's not possible to be cured. Whatever it is whatever belief it is that you hold is what blocks it. Also, asking for assistance, but then taking it back by continually worrying, continually seeking answers on your own. For you ask for assistance, but then you do not allow the assistance to come, for it may not always come in the way that you wish for it, but it will come in a way that is highest and best good for you. Holding on to worry about it show brings in that frequency of doubt and the need to be in control and in charge. And that blocks whatever the universe would be able to send you. You will not be able to receive it.
Mhm. For most of us, and we did a video on this maybe as long ago as a year ago, many of us are in a constant shift back and forth between faith and trust on one hand, and God helps he who helps himself on the other hand. So you hear those two things in your head and you go back and forth, but one seems to ruin the other. It can't do both.
Not necessarily that idea of God's source helps those who help themselves is not what stops the support from the universe. It is how you interpret it. For we would say that you ask something from us, then you are given steps to take in order to help that unfold. If you choose not to take those steps, then whatever you have asked for will be greatly delayed or not come at all, for you have now blocked receiving that information. When you ask for assistance from the universe, from God, source, all that is, it is not that you do nothing. It is that you follow the steps that are being given to you, that you take the action that you are guided to do. As we discussed in an earlier conversation with your channel, as she was preparing to move, she asked every day, what is the next step that I need to take? We provided her with each step, and it was her choice to take that next step or to ignore us.
So it's really not asking for a final solution at every request. It's asking for a next step.
Exactly.
And then receiving guidance on that next step, answering back with gratitude, and then asking again for the next step. It's one step at a time.
Yes.
With that approach, here's a loaded question. With that approach, is there such a thing as an incurable disease?
No.
Any disease could be cured with that approach.
We would say yes with a qualifier that yes, this is possible. And it requires cooperation from the human being, your free will, your belief system as to whether or not you believe you can be cured from whatever illness you have, and allowing that process to, to happen. The other is also soul agreements, contracts that each soul has made. And there are times that someone has an incurable disease and they choose as a soul to experience that and do not choose to allow any healing to take place. For it is the path of the soul that it wanted, for whatever reason, to experience this illness and to see it to its conclusion, which for humans means physical death.
That was the answer I expected for at least part of the reason why not every disease can be cured. But sometimes we sign up for a disease and we have to
Yes.
experience it.
Yes.
What is the situation when a disease arrives that is not on your soul contract? How did we acquire that disease? More than just the common cold.
There are times when the soul brings in this possibility and potential to experience, but did not intend for this to continue on to the point of physical death. So then it is up to the human being to again be conscious of the beliefs that it holds around the illness and to allow for that healing to take place. And there are many times when the human being does not have this awareness, does not believe that they can be healed, and therefore they will not be. My example for myself is, and I'm working with my beliefs around this, is my arthritis. I, at some level, at least cognitively, believe that it can be healed, that it's ridiculous that I have to walk around in pain. And I know that somehow the universe will heal that for me. And I keep asking. And I'm also aware of those parts of me that cling tightly to this belief that once you have chronic arthritis, the only thing that's going to help is a knee replacement. And so, even though I've challenged that and I keep bumping up against it and I keep trying to clear it, I'm still working with that just intense held belief around what the medical profession has said over all the years. And I'm holding on to that even though I'm trying to let go of it because I know it can be healed. I know my knee can work just fine. I'm in my own way because I cannot or will not, some part of me will not let go of that belief about arthritis. So that's what I struggle with in this moment of, okay, there's got to be a better way. I don't want to have to go get knee surgery.
Right. Well, we know that there are new technologies coming. One of them is CRISPR technology, CRSPR. People can search for that and find out more details about it. It's gene editing. The vaccines that were used for the pandemic were based on that same technology. So that's something that's coming your way. That could be an answer to your request. It may be a ways out, but there's also um, sometimes things just magically get cured and people don't understand why. We've all heard the stories.
Mhm,
Someone with stage 4 pancreatic cancer that all of a sudden is okay.
mhm.
So those are the stories that are most fascinating. Um, it would be it would be incredibly helpful to really know how to tap into that level of healing. And maybe that person did have that level of faith and maybe they didn't. Maybe that was on their pathway and maybe it wasn't, but they got that level of healing.
Many times when those healings like that seem to be miraculous, that seem to be impossible, but happen, It is when the human being, in a moment of surrender, overrides the belief that they carry and know without a doubt, with every fiber of their physical being, with every part of their soul, know and trust that they will be healed in that moment. And they allow that, and they are.
Mhm. In one sense or another, they just know it's going to be okay.
When Jesus walked the earth and he was healing those that came to him, each of those individuals had complete faith and trust that they would be healed. They knew that if they came to this being, this human who was standing there saying, I can heal you, that they would in fact be healed. They had nothing to lose. They
Mhm.
were already as worse off as they were going to be. So they had nothing to lose and everything to gain. And they approached from that place of trust and allowed the healing to take place.
If my upbringing stands firm on this one, if it stands in place, there were a couple of instances where there were conversations that said, um, if you had just the amount of faith as the size of a mustard seed, you would be healed. Now, I remember that, but not that well, and forgive my reference. That's not that clear. But so there were times when people did have the doubt, yet they still received the healing energy. What did they have that many of us maybe don't have?
In those moments, the soul was able to override the human belief in that moment, for it connected with the Christ energy, with that particular soul, and allowed that healing to take place. It was also a soul agreement between Jesus and the Christ soul and that individual and their soul that it would be so.
Okay. So one thing that I didn't quite understand in there was their soul level connected with at a soul level with Jesus, meaning
Yes.
their higher self. So it was not conscious to them while their feet were standing on the planet. It was their higher self that connected with Jesus that said, "Hey, we got this agreement that we made a long time ago. We need to honor this agreement." Is that kind of how that went down?
Yes.
Okay. And now everybody would like to know, how can I get that kind of an agreement? Yeah.
That will be something that your soul will have made prior to your incarnation. The more you connect with soul self, staying in that alignment with soul, higher self, all that is, the more you begin to understand these agreements. They become more conscious. It is also being willing to stay in that alignment. Look bravely at your unconscious, to all the beliefs that do not serve you, to bring them out into the light, to see them, to appreciate them, and to release them. All those parts that are mostly unconscious, it is important as you move more and more into true self, soul self, that you be willing to bring those unconscious parts into the light, to acknowledge them. For that frees you to be able to have more and more conscious contact with soul self and source. So much, if not all, human behavior is primarily driven by the unconscious mind of the individual. It is how the human beings are put together. And since most of this is unconscious, it is something that simply happens, and most humans do not always understand their behavior or their actions.
Mhm.
That's where you begin to see those karmic patterns that soul has brought forward because you continue to have the same old responses and behaviors in similar situations over and over again.
Mhm.
It is like the person who has married six spouses, and at some level they have all been the same, and the patterns with them have all been the same.
Right.
It is an unconscious belief and pattern that has been developed. If that individual would bring into consciousness, they would be able to shift and change their pattern.
That makes perfect sense. It's a hard thing to do, but it does make sense.
Yes, speaking from experience, it's a very hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Nobody would, I'm not sure it'd be something that people would necessarily want to approach on their own. It's hard work,
It is.
but it's something I think we're all being pushed more and more to do. And especially as frequencies and vibrations on the planet and within us are beginning to be bumped up or increasing, we're being, at least I am, and people I know are being really pushed hard to look at all of that. The more we can become conscious of this, the what's called shadow, those unconscious parts, and clear them, release them, just bring them into the open, the easier it is for us to shift frequencies and to move forward on
Mhm.
this path. Um, the less we do of this work, the harder and more painful it will be to have those frequency shifts. So I know for me personally, my guides are always encouraging me and having me bump up against the beliefs that I hold that are all unconscious and really supporting me in looking at those more and more and bringing more out into the light.
The growth opportunity. Okay.
Yes.
Loaded question number two, and I already know the answer, but I think the answer would be really good to bring out right here. Let's just say I don't believe in any one entity in particular, but I want to put something out to the universe. Does it matter who I call or how I phrase it or what name I might use? How does that affect it? What if I call the wrong number?
There is no wrong number. When you reach out to us, to the universe, to the divine mind, to the divine being, source, who is in fact everything and everyone, so there is no disconnection. There is no need to have a specific name, idea, or belief system around whatever deity you think you need to call upon. Use whatever is comfortable for you. This one simply says, hey guys,
Yo,
and we're there.
ask them why they always put me on hold. Okay, I retract that question.
They're laughing.
Okay, good. Okay. Do they have any other important points on this topic that we haven't covered? We've we really have reached some good material here, and this is a nice chunk that we could put into a little bit of a broadcast. What else would they like us to know?
Know that everything is shifting. Human beings are shifting, being given the opportunity to release that all that no longer serves and to continue to raise their frequencies and vibration. Know that everything is unfolding exactly as it needs to. Your task is to stay conscious, to stay in contact with your guides, your spiritual team, as it were, to ask for assistance every moment, to remain as much in the now as possible, to continually be aware of the thoughts, the chatter that flows through your mind, and when able, to bring yourself back to the present moment. For in truth, that is all that exists. And the more the frequencies change, the more it is imperative that you stay in the current now, for that is all you have. It will cause less disruption in your life, less difficulty if you can stay focused in the now. Worry does not help. This one likes to believe that it does somehow magically help things to turn out just fine. And we would say to you that all that worry does is disturb you, the human being, create chaos in your mind, disturbance in your physical vehicle, can also block what is coming your way from us, from the universe. Worry does not help. Let go of worry. Release it. Each time you are aware that it is there, release it. Move it into the light. See it for what it is and let it go. Stay in the here and now, for that is all there truly is.
Another tough assignment. There's a fine line between many of us who are problem solvers who run scenarios in our mind. That can be a useful activity, and then people that just worry. So there is a slight difference there, but even running scenarios through your mind um, endlessly will still tear you up and still run you out of energy.
Right. Yeah, what they were showing me is there are times when, yes, looking at possible different outcomes, looking at possible potential steps you can take is one thing. But then if you continue to obsess, it moves into that place of worry, which then blocks whatever it is that you're trying to understand.
I think if there's one thing about worry that you could take out of there, it's knowing when you've crossed that line of doing useful, helpful thinking about something and to the point where you're just tearing yourself up. So there's a line there that if we all knew where that line was, we would save ourselves a lot of gnashing of teeth.
And the way that we do that, they keep pointing out to me is that you keep coming back, bringing your mind back to the now. That's when you have that conscious awareness of, oh, I'm worrying. Okay, wait, I don't need to worry. Let it go. Bring myself right back to this moment. I'm sitting here in this room, in front of my computer, talking to Tom. That's what's happening now. All this other stuff is just chatter that I don't need to be attending.
Yeah.
So it's that constant realizing that's what we're doing, noticing it, and then bringing us back to this exact moment. And it can be exhausting to do that. And yet it works. And my experience has been, and my suspicion is that the more we do it, the easier it becomes and the faster we catch it, so that we're constantly bringing ourselves back to the now quicker each time. I've had those moments. They're just moments, but I've had moments. And I think it's really about the practice, the being willing to say, okay, I'm going to really try to track my thoughts and bring myself back to the now.
Yeah. And especially with the turmoil that many people are experiencing now, this is a really timely message.
It will keep us out of the chaos and the strife that is happening around us. If we're staying in now, in this moment, then all that other stuff we don't even acknowledge or pay attention to necessarily. We can be aware, but we don't have to get caught up in it.
Excellent message today for lots of different angles in life. So appreciation and gratitude to your guides and to you for bringing that message through to me and everyone else.
We were most pleased to be here today and answer those questions, for they are becoming vitally important as everyone moves forward, as things continue to shift on the planet and with Gaia herself, and also with human beings. Remember, we are always here. You are never alone. You are never separate. Being aware of your thoughts, continually moving back into the now, is what is being asked and required.
Okay. As one of my very good friends likes to say, challenge accepted.
Good luck to all of us.
Okay. Thanks, Laurie.
Sure, anytime.
Okay. Thanks for listening to that. We enjoyed it very much. Laurie, what were your thoughts? Did you have any final thoughts on that?
I did. One thought that came to me was that we all need to use our own discernment when we're getting information from spirit or from anyone about certain topics, about any topic. Always, always tune into your own intuition, your own beliefs, what's comfortable for you, and trust your own guidance. Don't take anything any of us say as gospel, so to speak. Use your discernment.
Everybody has that little guiding force inside that knows when that something is truth and real and when
Yes,
something is not.
yes, absolutely. And that's true for anything that I might channel or anyone else for that matter.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that, we thank you for being a part of our broadcast today. If you've enjoyed it, please give us a like or a share, or give us some comments on what you thought and add anything you might like to add to the thoughts that we put out there today. If you have a topic that you'd like us to explore further, you can put that in the comments as well. And you can also put that on our posts section of our YouTube page. And lastly, if you'd like to get a hold of either Lori or me, you can get us at ourspiritualsojourn@gmail.com. And with that, thanks everyone. See you next time.
See you next time. Well, that was fun.